What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today it's another list video. I'm all about these list videos at the moment, guys. And it's all about trying to get games into your hands that you may have never heard of before. And today we are looking at PlayStation 2 Hidden Gems. Let's get to that honourable mention. My honourable mention can be picked up for as little as 50p, and it is just a forgotten racing series, to be fair. It is Extreme G3. This game is super duper hidden, in my opinion. No one ever talks about this series in particular. The first two games came out on the N64 and I loved them to death. I never had an N64 when growing up, but I did go around my cousin's house and play his N64, and we used to play loads of split screen Extreme G1 and Extreme G2. And when I got a PS2 and they put out the third game, it was like the heavens had opened, right? For me, Extreme G3 may not be the best in that series. I still think Extreme G2 might be the best. But for a PS2 game, it goes so unnoticed. It's a crime. I prefer this series over the Wipeout series. If we're looking at like futuristic kind of combat racing, Extreme G for me is the one, right? I love Wipeout, don't get me wrong. Grew up with Wipeout as well. But when you're talking about this kind of genre, futuristic motorbikes are the way to go. You're racing on Tron bikes, right? It's sick as hell. Blistering fast gameplay, awesome weapons to use. It's like Mario Kart, but it's like sci-fi Mario Kart. Very similar kind of ideas of pickups, weapon pickups. There's some really cool mechanics in this. The game is super fast as well. I don't know, there's not a lot I can say about it because it is pretty much what you would expect from a kind of sci-fi. I don't know, people call them anti-gravity races, but this is obviously, you're on two wheels, so it's not technically anti-gravity, but you take Wipeout, sprinkle in a little bit of the Mario Kart kind of weapon pickup magic, and add an awesome kind of Tron-esque kind of world. Yeah, Extreme G3 is just so good. Honourable mention, go and pick it up if you can. It's awesome. It's super cheap, between 50p and £1. I highly recommend it. That's Extreme G3. My next game is a game that has kind of creeped up and become a bit more well known as the years have gone on. It's a great horror game for the PS2. It's one of those rare occasions where you can flip between third person and first person combat. I'm talking about The Suffering. Man, this game is a glorious horror title. Like I said, it's become a bit more notable now. If you talk about other underrated games, it's on a lot of those lists. But I thought I'd put it on Hidden Gems because I still feel like it goes beyond people's radars these days. Hell, even I forgot it was a game until I saw it recollecting PS2 and thought, God damn it, I have to have that in the collection. What a game. Sequel's good as well. The Suffering Ties That Bind, that's a good game as well. But we're talking about the first game here. Yeah, this game is a great horror game. It's got so much atmosphere. It's like The Green Mile crossed with Hellraiser. It's fucking crazy good. Super violent, super not for children. You're this inmate. He's called Torque. He's been charged with murdering his wife and son. And you're in this prison complex, and some crazy demonic shit happens, and the previously killed inmates come back as like demons. And there's some really cool ways of cool ideas in this game when it concerns the ghosts and the demons that are attacking you. Their whole kind of concept of their designs are around execution styles, right? So you get like a demon that looks like kind of like, where people will get, lined up and shot, by a firing line kind of thing. Or you get like you got like an electric chair kind of style demon that kind of looks like he's been electric chaired. There's some really cool, interesting shit. I mean, it's disturbing as hell, but as a video game, it's some really cool horror stuff. And yeah, it definitely is like Green Mile cross of Hellraiser. I can't put it into words how much this game is so... There's no game quite like it, in my opinion. And the idea of, you know, you can choose whether to go first person or third person in the combat realm. I can't remember a game that did that before this. There probably was, right? There probably was, you know. I'm never going to know every game and every game that ever done every mechanic. But it was so unheard of with this game, with a horror game in particular. And once you get your crazy demonic superpower, it gets mental. Yeah, Suffering, a hidden gem all day long for PS2. A game that, you know, even I forgot came out, you know. Even I forgot about it. You know, people have remembered it, but I reckon there's still people that have gone, oh yeah, I forgot that came out. Definitely a hidden gem. Not one you see very often in the wild either, so pick this one up if you come across it. That's the Suffering. My number 4 pick in this list is a Tomb Raider style gothic horror action whatever game that I really like. And I don't think most people know about it either. It's called Primal. It's really cool, guys. It's basically about this goth chick. She goes to this gig where her boyfriend's at. He gets murdered by a demon. She gets chosen to be the person who can enter the demon world and just actually become a badass. She gains loads of powers to transform into different beasts, which give her different combat abilities and also traversal abilities. So you'll be able to explore the world in different ways. It's a really fun game, guys. It's really good. Like I said, it's got a bit of the Tomb Raider vibe there, but it's in this kind of goth rock kind of, you know, hell on earth kind of stuff. You could kind of see it as like the vibe of Devil May Cry 1, for example, and Tomb Raider, and you might get the kind of idea I'm trying to express. I'm terrible at describing shit, guys, but this game is really fun. If you like the idea of exploring a strange world with demons, and you get to transform into demons and fight them, and you get to do loads of puzzle solving, it's awesome. It's so much fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm terrible at describing games, guys, but I remember this game being so good. It was re-released on PS4 and I replayed it a couple of years ago. Still really, really fun. Yeah, Primal. Doesn't get enough love. Go and check it out. Speaking of a game that doesn't get enough love, my number 3 pick is a survival horror game heavily inspired by John Carpenter's The Thing. It is called Extermination. This game surprised the hell out of me on a replay last year. I picked this up last year, I can't remember when, but super cheap game to pick up nowadays, guys. If you like survival horror like me, I love survival horror games. Considering the time this came out, it kind of was like next level in the survival horror kind of scene, because the way it controls is just sublime. The controls are absolutely next level, and no other survival horror game kind of controls as well as this one, especially from this time period, the early 2000s, for example. It did really kind of change the way you can control these kind of games, and it is really, really well made. I love the idea of these parasites that you can be infected, that you've got to find, the vaccines to make yourself uninfected. Your friends can get infected, they will die, you've got to fight their rotting corpses, and you'll come across all these different crazy alien morphing monsters throughout the whole game. And it is basically The Thing before The Thing game came out, right? I really like this one. I think it's really cool. Like I said, it's got great controls. It looks cool for the time. I love John Carpenter's The Thing, and this is heavily inspired by that film. This game is definitely worth checking out. I think it's a hidden gem. No one talks about Extermination. It's one of the premium survival horrors on PS2. Go and check it out. That's Extermination. My number 2 is a stealth action game that kind of brings to mind God of War before God of War. This game is called The Mark of Cre. This game is so much fun. It's got great visuals. It's got a great story, and the actual stealth combat is absolutely savage. This game is really cool. I can't really put into words what I think it's like, but it does bring to mind that kind of God of War vibe. But also, you have your little kind of crow friend you can send out to survey the land to see if there's any dangers ahead. It's just quite ahead of its time for what it does, and the stealth is really satisfying, and it has these kind of really satisfying different button combinations for your stealth kind of takedowns, and they're all just brutal violent, right? They're so savage, and the animations are as kind of nasty as the actual act is in itself. The way the character moves looks awesome. The way the characters die, like when you actually kill people, their body reacts in such a jerky manner, such a horrible, like it looks horrible when you're actually like killing people in this game. But it's so much fun. It's so much fun, guys. It is a really cool game. Yeah, a Mark of Cre. I highly recommend it. It's basically Stealth God of War. My number one, guys, is a Musou style action game where you get to ride a freaking dragon. I'm talking about Drakengard. Now, this game is a massive hidden gem for me on the PS2. Nobody knows about this one. Unless you're a super hardcore fan of these kind of games, and this series in particular, you wouldn't really know about this one. But I love this game. It's one of my favourite games on the system, and I feel like it's super underrated. If you like Dynasty Warriors and those kind of games, this has similar action sequences, like you're just cutting down hundreds of soldiers in these massive arena fights. But then when shit hits the fan, you can call the dragon and ride a dragon into battle and burn up the battlefield as well. If you like those Dynasty Warriors style games, I think you might have a blast with this one. This series did spin off into the Nier series, so you've got Nier Replicant and Nier Automata. So if you like this one and its sequels, you might enjoy those games as well. But for me, this is one of the most hidden gems of hidden gems on the PS2, because no one talks about it. I think it's awesome. Drakengard is one of the best kind of unknown titles on the PS2. That's Drakengard. So that's it, guys. Those are my picks for must-play PS2 hidden gems. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts on these games in the comments down below. Let me know what hidden gems that you think are on PS2. I always appreciate all the suggestions you guys send my way, because I'm always looking for new games to check out on the PS2, on the 360. But for the PS2 in particular, let me know your picks for hidden gems. And as always, let's continue to build a games collection.